Hello all. In this video we will discuss big omega and little omega notations. In the previous video we have discussed big O and little o notations. The big omega notation differs with big O in only one scenario, and that is this condition that f of n in case of big O notation was less than or equal to c into g of n. But here in big omega notation f of n is greater than or equal to c into g of n for all n greater than or equal to n naught. N naught can be any value. There is no restriction on n naught, but in case of big omega, the value of c which you should choose must be as large as possible, for which the definition holds. So let's see an example. Suppose we have f of n as 7n minus 4 and g of n is n. So we want that 7n minus 4 should be greater than or equal to c into n. Okay. Now if you choose c as 5, then this is 5n. 7n minus 4 is greater than or equal to 5n. Does it hold? Well, if you choose n as 1 for example, then it could be 7 minus 4, that's 3, and 3 greater than or equal to 5n or 5 is false. Okay, but we don't want n naught to be 1. N naught can be any value, right? And we want c to be as large as possible, for which the equation holds. So it may even hold when c is equal to 5. Let's see if c is 7. Does it hold for c is equal to 7? 7n minus 4 is greater than or equal to 7n? Certainly not true, because of this minus 4. This minus 4 will always make sure that left hand side is always smaller than 7n. Okay, so the largest value of c which you can choose is 6. 7n minus 4 is greater than or equal to 6n. Is it true? Well, it may not hold for initial few values of n as 1, 2 or 3, but certainly it will start holding when n naught is 4. If you substitute n as 4, then 7 into 4, 28 minus 4 is 24, and this is 6 into 4, 24. 24 greater than or equal to 24. And once it holds for n as 4, it would also hold for n equal to 5, 6, 7 and at onwards. Okay, so let's substitute n as 5. 7 into 5, 35. 35 minus 4 is 31. 31 greater than or equal to 6 into 5, 30. Yeah, so it holds for n not n is equal to 5 as well. So what we get is 7n minus 4 is greater than or equal to 6n for all n greater than or equal to 4. Okay, so here what we are doing is we are placing an lower bound, right? We say that before n naught was 4, f of n was actually smaller than c into g of n, smaller than c into g of n. But once n naught was 4, in our previous example n naught was 4, at that time both the equations were true, right? 28 minus 4 is equal to 6 into 4, 24. And once it exceeds 4, we always know that f of n is always greater than or equal to c into g of n. So f of n would never go below this. F of n would never go below c into g of n. So what we are doing is we are placing an lower bound, right? We are going to place an lower bound. In case of big O notation, we have placed an upper bound. In big omega notation, we are placing a lower bound, that f of n should never go below this, right? So f of n is always greater than or equal to c into g of n, right? So c should be as large as possible, for which the equation holds, and big omega places a lower bound. Now little omega notation. Little omega notation very similar to little o. What was the difference between big O notation, and little o notation? The sign was, instead of less than equal to, we are saying less than. So here instead of saying greater than or equal to, we are going to see strictly greater than. F of n is strictly greater than c into g of n. Let's see an example. Let's say same 7n minus 4 is little omega of n, then f of n is 7n minus 4 and g of n is n. So we want 7n minus 4 to be greater than c into n. So what is the value for c which you can choose? Again you can choose c as 6, but once you choose c as 6, we want 7n minus 4 to be greater than 6n. So now we can't take n as 4. If you take n as 4, then it would be 7 into 4, 24 minus 4, 20, 28 minus 4, 24. 24 greater than 24 is false. So we will start at n naught as 5, because we want strictly greater than. So starting from n naught as 5, 7n minus 4 will always be greater than 6n for all n greater than or equal to 5. Here also we are interested in choosing C which is as large as possible. You can't choose C as 7. If you choose C as 7, 7n minus 4 would never be greater than 7n because of this minus 4 term, right? So this was about little omega notation. In the next video, we will see the drawbacks of big O and big omega notations, and then we will come to another asymptotic notation that is called as big theta notation. Finally, we will conclude that video with some words of caution. Okay, thank you.